Hey everyone, it's Miss Brooks with your Daily Dose of Math. Today we're going to be continuing our discussion with Section 2 and Section 3 of Chapter 1, Solving Equations and Inequalities. The focus of this note is going to be applying the skills we have previously learned to being able to solve word problems. So when I solve word problems, I first like to read the question first, and then I will underline the important information and circle what the question is asking me to do. So our first example says 4 times the cost B of a book equals $116. What is the cost of the book? So since I've read it, I'm going to go back through and underline what is important. So we have 4 times the cost B. And that equals $116. So that's what's important in my problem. And then I'm going to circle what exactly do they want me to find. Well, they want me to find the cost of the book. So what we're going to need to do is write an equation, and then we're going to have to circle the cost. That means that's what we're going to have to find. So let's write the equation first. It says 4 times B equals 116. So 4 times, well, times means multiplication. So we're going to have 4 multiplied with B. So 4B, and that's going to equal 116. Once you write the equation, then you just need to solve it and answer the question that you circled. So if I were to solve this equation, I would divide both sides by 4 to find that B equals, now 4 into 116. 4 goes into 11 twice, that's 8. 4 goes into 36, 9. So B is 29. So when you solve a word problem, it's best to put your answer in the context of the word problem. So this was about cost. So this tells me that my book cost $29. It is time for your first U-Try. Please pause the video and attempt the problem. 8 times a number equals 72. What is the number? Be sure to write an equation and solve the equation to solve this word problem. When you have finished solving, resume the video to check your answer. So the important information in my problem is 8 times a number equals 72. What I'm going to try to figure out is what exactly is this number. So, since I don't know what the number is, just as 8 times a number, I can assign any variable to be that number. So I'm going to say, let's say this number is x. So if I set up my equation, 8 times x, or just 8x, should equal 72. And now I'm going to use this equation to find the number. So if I divide 8 on both sides, x equals, well, 8 goes into 72 9 times. So what is the number? I'm not going to say x equals 9. I made up x. It was not in the original problem. I'm just going to say the number was 9. Our next example says x divided by 4 equals 96. What is x? So the first thing I'm going to do is underline my key information. I have x divided by 4 equals 96. Honestly, that entire sentence is very important because it tells me exactly how to set up the equation. And then I'm going to circle what do they want me to find. Well, they want me to find what x is. So now that we know our key information, we're going to set up our problem. X divided by 4. Well, when I think divided by, I always think of a fraction. And it's usually best to set up division problems like a fraction because it's easier to solve the equations. So I'm going to put x divided by 4 in a fraction, and I want to set that equal to 96. So once I set up the equation, then I'm going to solve it. So if x is being divided by 4 right now, the opposite would be to multiply both sides by 4. So I'm going to have x equals, and then 96 times 4. Well, I don't know that on the top of my head, so I'm going to multiply it out off to the side. 6 times 4 is 24. 9 times 4 is 36, plus 2 is 38. So in this problem, x is 384. And since they straight up asked me what is x, I can circle this. X is 384. It is time for your next U-Try. Pause the video and attempt the following problem. When you have an answer, resume the video to check it. 5 more than 3 times a number is 26. What is the number? So my key information is that we have 5 more than 3 times a number is 26. And what I'm trying to find is what is this number? So it's very important when you do word problems that you think about what exactly is this saying. So 5 more than 3 times some number. Again, when they don't give me a variable for the number, I can use any letter I want. And I like to use x. So I have 5 more than 3 times a number. So 3 times a number would be 3x. 3 times x. And I need 5 more than that. So think about if I have 5 more, I'm adding 5, and that would equal 26. So we basically have 3 times some number x plus 5 more equals 26. So now that we've set up the equation, we want to solve it. So we're going to subtract 5 on both sides. So we have 3x equals 21, and then divide by 3. So x is going to be 7, but this just says what is the number, so I'm just going to answer, oh, you know, the number is 7.